I don't really, for me, finances wise, it's pretty low priority for me. Honestly, don't really care. She could work at Chick-fil-A, hook it up, get me some chicken tenders. Like, I don't care. I really don't care. She doesn't need to match me socioeconomically. Yeah, doesn't bother me at all. So
I think most guys prioritize like beauty, fertility, youth, femininity over success and
low
ambition.
body count. That's another one.
Some guys don't care about that. A lot of guys care about that.
Yeah.
But I think those guys mainly prioritize those things over like ambition and financial success in women.
Why do you think that is?
Because
Like, what's like the disconnect? Because I think that women value ambition and success way higher than looks and that youngness, youth, like whatever. So what do you think the disconnect is? I mean, the difference.
So I would say that there are all sorts of asymmetries between what men and women find attractive. So for example, men don't care so much about a woman's height. They certainly don't care if, I would say most men don't have a preference for a female partner being taller than them. But I would say most women have a preference for their male partner being taller than them. So that's an asymmetry there in terms of what men and women find attractive. So let me ask you another one.
Wait, can I answer her question? I don't think you answered it directly enough. To be honest.
I'm kind of getting at it, right?
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Well, so what your question is, why?
So my question is, why do men... Why? Okay, I guess it's just like, it's weird for me because like I just value like ambition and just kind of like having goals and just being a really driven person as like a huge priority to me. And you basically said that that is not a priority to men.
No.
And I'm just curious as to why. And then I also have a second question.
So I have a very direct and simple answer to this question.
Perfect.
So I think when you have a guy that's like ambitious and he's confident and he's getting after it in life, like that kind of subconsciously signals to women, like this guy's probably going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
If a guy that you're with is going to be successful, I think there's like deep in your brain a part of you that realizes, okay, if I build a family with this guy, he's going to be able to provide for me and probably going to be able to protect me, right? Whereas guys, like, I'm not looking at a woman thinking, okay, is she going to be able to provide for me and protect me? Like, I look at a woman and I'm like, is she going to be able to carry my kids? Can I, have a bunch of kids with her? Is she going to have healthy pregnancies?
Is she gonna be loyal to me?
Is she going to be loyal to me?
Huge.
And like, I think like when a woman gets pregnant, like people talk about this with evolutionary psychology, right? Like if a woman gets pregnant, throughout a lot of history, that would be like a very vulnerable position to be in, right? Like if you're gonna get pregnant, you're gonna have a baby in your belly. If there's a predator, you're gonna be slower to get away from it. You're gonna need resources to sustain that pregnancy, right? Mm-hmm. And so you need to know, okay, my guy's gonna be able to provide for me, right? And if he's a guy who's like, he's gonna be successful, you're gonna have a lot of confidence in that guy, right? Like
So
that's attractive to you.
I have, for my second question, I'm actually genuinely just like really curious, like genuinely, because I've never really had this conversation with guys. What percentage of guys do you guys think the same as you, in the sense of like you guys aren't as attracted to like the boss woman, like whatever, like go-getter,
It's a really good
independent,
question.
you
It's
know
a
what I
really
mean?
good
Because
question.
I was thinking about it and I was like, I actually have no idea like what men think about this.
Okay, most guys, they will literally, their opinion will be based solely off of what they think will get women to sleep with them. That is the vast majority of men, I swear. That is it. So as far as like men's opinions, say what you're saying exactly. Guys.
Men. So I'm not talking about like hooking up, and I'm talking about like in a relationship with a woman that you want to get married to. What is the predominant thinking with men? Like, what do men think? Like, what does the majority of men think about like a woman that's like, independent, makes her own money, doesn't really think about like, the man being the...
Well, as far as finances go, it's very low priority. Of course, we don't want a woman who's got like $300,000 of debt, but
Right.
we really don't
It's
care.
youth and fertility. Biologically speaking,
Low body
almost
count.
all dudes. Low body count is very
Fertility,
important for a lot of
youth.
guys too. But youth and fertility, like this,
Femininity.
This is
Yep.
why like tits and ass are so huge to guys, right? Like it's such a big priority for guys because
Not fake ones though.
yeah, not
True.
true. Like so many guys are attracted to a girl with, I think, in my opinion, so many guys are attracted to women with big boobs and big butts because it signals fertility, right? And like I think it's
Small
not something-
boob. Solidarity.
it's not something we like consciously think about. Like it's just our biology. Like when we see a woman with those things, we just like our body knows, okay, she can make kids for us. And I think we're like hardwired for that, you know?
Same thing with women, like in like tall jack dudes. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
And that's not to say obviously that guys don't like women without big boobs or a big butt, but it's just like just our biological programming. And I think most guys, probably 90% plus of dudes, like they look at a woman's youth and her beauty and like that's what they immediately judge. And the financial success, ambition, that comes secondary.
Comes
to
after.
that.
Morals,
Comes
though,
after.
I'd definitely say that like men will look at morals as well, along
Okay.
with femininity and beauty, fertility.
And I think like as you guys are mostly 20, right?
Yeah.
Like I think as you guys get into your mid 20s and stuff, like right now you're probably looking at dudes and you like the confident, energetic, like tall, handsome guys. But as you guys get into your mid 20s, you're probably going to really place a premium on like, okay, is this guy going somewhere in life? Because if you see a guy who's going somewhere in life, that's going to be very attractive to you guys.
I have a question for you. You say that like you're attracted to like youth and femininity. Do you think that means that like after your wife turns like 35, like you're not going to be attracted to her anymore because she's not going to be considered young and feminine?
That's a good question. So I think for a lot of guys, that's the case. I was telling them last time, this is a pattern that I've noticed with the older dudes at my gym who are all divorced. Like they a lot of these guys, like they started, you know, they married women that they started having sex with very quickly, and then once they got into their late 30s and into their 40s, they realized there's nothing really there beyond the physical attraction, and a lot of these dudes got divorced. For me, like, yeah, I want a wife who I'm physically attracted to, but like I want a wife who I have a really deep connection to, because I want to be cracking jokes with her on my porch when we're in our 70s, you know? Like I want to be talking about like books and movies and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people get into relationships where it's just purely based on the physical attraction, and that fizzles out after you're out of your 30s for a lot of people, you know? And so for a lot of guys, that's the case. But I think if you carefully pick your partner, you know,
And
it
have a
won't be
strong
the case.
connection with them, then
Yeah.
like the attractiveness wouldn't matter when you are 35. Because also like we both men and women age, right? So you have to be able to have that deep emotional connection so you
Yeah.
can continue a long relationship. Okay.
Exactly.
I got it.
And I think like if you find a great guy who you build a family with, like that love is going to evolve and transform, right? Like when you guys first meet, if you meet in your 20s, he's going to be really attracted to your physical beauty and all that stuff. But if you guys have kids together and you guys grow with one another, that love is going to transform from just being physical attraction into like, you guys have built a life with one another. You care about each other as individuals, and like you guys have raised kids into human being adults, you know, together. And like that's where you can build a lot more love off of. And I think that's what sustains people over the long run, you know?
I think though too that a lot of guys, you know, that would say be in their early like to mid 30s or so, they would, you know, try to look for a woman that's in her, you know, it's like, you know, 23 to like 26 or so, just because they've had more time to build themselves up, like as a man, get more resources, get more income, all that stuff, and then have like some of this, you know, younger and like more beautiful. Because I mean, there's no shortage of women that are like 35-year-old like wine drinking dog moms, you know, that just like hate everybody and say like, you know, absolute all men are just this, that way and the other, just because they've like warded off every single man, and then their beauty's kind of fading, versus somebody that's, you know, younger and, you know, more fertile.
And on that point too, Couch Potato Farm said if a woman stays disciplined, eating well and exercising, women will be attractive at all ages. That is like such an important point. There are like so many women out there. There's so many women out there who take like really good care of themselves. They eat the right foods. They stay on top of their exercise, and they are hot into their like 40s and 50s. And there's also
You mean
a lot
a
of women,
MILF? You could call them.
Oh yeah. I grew up in San Diego. There's a ton of those.
It just speaks, I mean, for you know, both genders, is like if you treat yourself like shit and you're just out just drinking fucking seltzers and like that's your hobby and just going out partying, all that stuff, you're gonna age way quicker than somebody who actually eats clean, takes care of their health, exercises. Like that goes for both men and women, like no doubt.
I have a follow-up question. If fertility is so important, would you not pursue someone who you click with on any other level or on every other level if they're infertile? Not because of their actions or drugs or alcohol, but they were born infertile. Would you not pursue them because of that?
It's a good question.
Well,
Jess.
if you, I guess it depends. If you want kids, that's probably a pretty big deal breaker. So it's just a non-starter if you want kids. But if a guy is open to not having kids, then
so
that's actually probably a good thing.
But can't you have kids in other ways?
no.